I am Sayyida Rimsha and I am honored to be your host for tonight's webinar. I am a clinical psychologist actively working with both the social media and clinical psychology department as a trainee of the Mental Health Amen Foundation. Let me take a moment to introduce you to Mental Health Amen Foundation, established in 2022 by the visionary CEO, Ms. Amen Shehzadi, a clinical and counseling psychologist. The foundation is dedicated to providing high quality psychological intervention services to spreading mental health awareness to the wider public. Our foundation operates through four key departments. Number one is clinical psychology department, where we offer a range of therapeutical services. Then we have educational department, which is focusing on mental health literacy and training programs. Number third is social media department, which is a platform to connect, educate, and engage community with mental health resources. And number fourth is donations. We believe in accessible mental health care, offering free or pro bono services to those who disadvantaged backgrounds. Our donation efforts help extend mental health services to those in need, breaking barriers of affordability. Tonight's talk will be about whether social media is a leading to declining empathy, presented by Ms. Sayyeda Kashyap Zehra, who is a talented psychologist. This webinar explores implications of usage of social media on empathy in people, backed up with research. It will be an interactive session, so we implored you to contribute. We are excited to have her with us to share her valuable insights on this important subject. At the end of the session, we'll open the floor for question and answer session. In the meantime, feel free to drop any questions you have in the comment section and we'll address them towards the end. Without any further ado, over to Ms. Sayyeda Kashyap Zehra.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Am I audible to everyone? Can everyone hear me?
Yes, Miss.
Okay. All right. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you for the warm welcome and the introduction. My name is Kashyap. I'm a psychologist, and I feel very strongly about technology, psychology, and social media and stuff in general. So this is a very, very self-indulgent topic for me. So I'm going to have more fun than you guys, I feel like, but I'm just here to talk about something that is very important to me. So I have also conducted research on the internet and like the problematic effects that it has on us and stuff like that. So I'm just going to share my slides. Let me know when my screen is audible to you guys. Is it audible? Sorry, not audible. I mean visible. Is it visible to you guys? My screen?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, so I'm just going to make it full screen and we're just going to. Okay, so the topic tonight is social media leading to declining empathy? Now, I feel very strongly about this topic because I've noticed that people are becoming really, really mean and callous online. Jo log the मुंह पे किसी के नहीं कहेंगे real life में, but online, like all bets are off, right? And it's very interesting to me क्योंकि at this point हम इतनी globalized दुनिया में रह रहे हैं कि एक society हमारी वो है जो जिसमें हम रहते हैं real life, right? जो हमारा country है, ethnicity, religion, whatever. लेकिन एक online society भी है. So we are kind of coexisting in two places at once. And it's very interesting because some people are very different online than they are in real life, right? And some people are very like empathetic in real life. Like online, it's like they don't care what they're saying or who they're saying it to and stuff like that. So that's very interesting. So before we start, I just want to talk about the concept of empathy. I'm sure हम सबको पता है empathy क्या होती है, but I'm just going to very quickly talk about it. उर्दू में इसको हमदर्दी कहते हैं. People that like sort of are able to understand or share the emotions of another person. This is called cognitive empathy. जो आपकी mentally आपको पता है कि this person is going through this, and you can kind of then even share in this. आप उनको sympathy दे सकते हो, you know, you are there for them. Effective empathy is when you feel their pain, their joy with them. कभी-कभी आपको लगता है ना कि somebody is very sad, you're very happy, you're very angry, और आप साथ उनका मूड आपको अफेक्ट कर रहा होता है. This happens very frequently with our parents, for example. आपकी मम्मा का मूड खराब है, आप घर आए हो, आपका मूड खराब हो गया, you know. This is effective empathy. You partake in their emotions with them. कुछ लोगों की cognitive empathy अच्छी होती है, कुछ की affective अच्छी होती है, कुछ की दोनों अच्छी होती है. But either way, this helps us be more compassionate towards other people. Now the question is, is social media making us less empathetic? Because agar people are being so mean and callous online, then is it declining, right? So now we live in the age of social media. आजकल connection इतना बढ़ गया है कि we live in a very globalized society, right? पहले we so आजकल connection काफी बढ़ गया, and it's not just in terms of talking to other people. We are basically partaking in a bunch of things. We are partaking in, we are consuming content जो कोई जापान में बना रहा है, and we're consuming it here. Yeah, आजकल हम लोग we are consuming things from different parts of the world. LinkedIn पे we are in touch with so many other professionals, right? So the communication of culture, communication of everything has become very facilitated, right? Now, empathy is basically just being able to put yourself in other people's shoes. That's what we've already talked about, right? आप उनका perspective understand करते हो, उनके emotion understand करते हो, उनके emotions में share कर सकते हो. When you have online friends, not all of them are going to be Pakistani, right? So cultural differences are and all of those things. So for the purpose of this talk, and I'm going to ask you guys to weigh in as well. For the purpose of this talk, social media may also choose to constitute you where you are consuming any kind of content and interacting with any person, yeah, anything that is not necessarily near you. So Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, even Google, hell, like Pinterest, YouTube, Instagram, all these things, right? So I'm not just talking about talking to people. I'm talking about like empathy in general, because empathy can also be towards concepts, if that makes sense. Okay, so it's up to you guys. I'm going to give the floor to you guys now. We have this thing called the media empathy paradox, right? आजकल जो research है उसमें ये है कि connection बढ़ता जा रहा है, which like I said, लेकिन disconnection ज़्यादा बढ़ रहा है as connection increases in the age of social media. People find it more difficult to connect with other people and their emotions and everything, which is very interesting. Why is that happening? That's the point, right? So there's this one question that comes up, and we will discuss this. And I'm going to ask you guys actually, do you think empathy and how you conduct yourself, do you think it depends on the activity that you're partaking in? कि internet पे आप कर क्या रहे हो? Who do you think has less empathy? जो internet पे क्या कर रहे हैं? Either people lurk, या फिर people have lots of friends online, या कुछ लोग photos post करते हैं, status updates, whatever. लोग different चीजें कर रहे हैं. Who do you think has the least empathy? I will ask you. You can put it in the chat if you don't want to talk. Or you can talk. That's also fine. Come on. Share. Because I want this to be interactive. Otherwise, it's going to be a lecture.
May I say something?
Yeah, sure. Please do.
It's Aisha, and I was thinking that अगर social media पे, for example, अपनी कोई achievement share करता है या अपने life के बारे में share करता है, so people automatically might assume कि that person is privileged or rich, etc. But no one knows the bigger picture, like कितना hard work लगता है उसमें, क्या problems आती हैं लोगों की life में. So in that area, I guess they lack empathy.
Sure. Okay. So who, like Aisha, I will ask you, and the users that you see around you, I'm asking for your judgment. Who do you think has less empathy? What like based on what they're posting?
I think people who judge others have less empathy.
Okay. What are they posting? Are they posting like hate comments and stuff? That's what you mean?
Yes, hate comments or trolling या फिर किसी की body image पे comment कर देना, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's actually why I'm doing this topic to begin with, because that's so common now. And I was like, what's going on? Because real life usually doesn't happen that openly, like to anyone's face, right? That's very common. Yeah. Anybody
Yes.
else? Please, anybody else? Yeah, Lua?
Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, I think I've seen like एक तो वो वाली एज ग्रुप जो बहुत आई थिंक नया नया इंटरनेट में भी यूज करना शुरू करते हैं, मे बी लाइक बिल्कुल अभी टीन एज में भी नहीं होते, ये वेरी अर्ली टीनेजर्स, मुझे कभी उसका लगता है कुछ आप लाइक हेट कमेंट्स वगैरह आप पढ़ते हो तो आपको लग रहा होता है बिल्कुल ही किसी बच्चे ने लिखा हुआ है. और एक मुझे वो भी लगता है जो लाइक व्हेन यू अगर आप कभी उनकी प्रोफाइल वगैरह खोलो तो उनकी अपनी बच्चों के साथ अपनी फैमिलीज वगैरह के साथ पिक्चर्स होती हैं, बट लाइक बिकॉज उन्हें लग रहा होता है कि ये ऐसे जैसे इन्फ्लुएंसर्स वगैरह होते हैं उनके ऊपर वो
Right,
काफी कमेंट्स कर रहे होते हैं, लाइक जज कर रहे
right,
होते हैं बहुत
right,
ज्यादा.
right, right. Yeah, that's good. Dua, you also have something to say? Miss Dua, I think, unmuted herself. So if you have something to say, please do.
यही कह रही थी कि मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि जब सोशल मीडिया पे हम होते हैं और हम डीपली एक दूसरे से कनेक्ट नहीं कर पा रहे होते और हम बस एक चीज स्क्रॉल कर रहे हैं और हम मेंटली प्रेजेंट नहीं है, इसलिए भी इतना एम्पैथेटिक हमारा बिहेवियर नहीं होता.
Okay, that's actually part of it. We will talk about that. That's a very good point. So now I'll ask you, can you think of any examples of people being very, very callous? Like, jahan pe aapne koi comment pada ho, ya some kind of behavior where you were like, that would not fly in real life. That was intense. I know you've run across, because I want this to be interactive. You can type it in the chat if you don't want to talk. That's fine. Social media may increase decrease face-to-face interaction too. Yes, it does actually. And that's actually what we're going to talk about after. Isliye disconnection has increased as well. Lekin, can you think of any particular example of people being really mean? Put it in the chat if you don't want to talk. Lekin, I'm going to make this interactive. I will do my best.
I have an example. Hi, Miss Kashyap.
Cool. Hi.
Okay, so I don't know if many people know about this, but I would like to talk about servers online. You know,
Okay.
like Discord, for example.
Yeah.
So I believe anonymity also plays a role in this. You know, ek to you're
Yes, it
online,
does.
you're hiding
Yeah.
behind a screen, and another thing that these servers don't require you to kind of have your identity also. You know, so
Sure.
you can maintain anonymity, and you are like ek to faceless, nameless, right? And you're hiding behind the screen on top of that. So
Yeah.
I believe that people get so ruthless because when I was working in a school and all these teenage boys, they were kind of playing games on these servers, right? And the
Right.
behavior got so out of control that, you know, they were kind of abusing, bullying, because again, they were anonymous, you know, on these
Yeah.
servers,
Yeah.
and they could say whatever they want to, you know, without kind of having to deal with that accountability factor, you know, because no one kind of knew who was saying what, you know. So
Right.
there was this boy, and his parents kind of came in and they were like, you know, we do not know what to do now because, you know, my child, he is hooked to the server on Discord, and you know, we have tried everything, but you know, it's not working out, and his mental health has obviously kind of deteriorated because you know, he has faced a lot of bullying there. And
Right.
but they knew कि वो जो भी server था, it was basically of the boys from the school. So they knew
Right.
that, you know, they were, because but at the end of the day we were also helpless, right? Because we
Right.
couldn't go around you know, just holding anyone accountable because we didn't
Right.
know कि कौन उस server पे है, you know, there was no way to find out. So I believe this example was, you know, is an extreme, you know, is an extreme one because एक तो you're online and you're also
Yeah.
anonymous.
Right.
So I don't know कि इसको deal करने, because even we were clueless as to how to kind of go around this, you know, and work our way around it,
Yeah.
deal with this. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Manu. Alicia has her mic unmuted. Alicia, do you have anything to contribute? No? Okay. Okay, so we'll move on. Thank you for your answers. All right. Research kya kehti hai about social media or declining empathy? Results were actually a lot more mixed than I thought they would be. So, एक तो ये था कि there were some studies where said that social media की age में empathy in general largely has declined globally, right? And they said that it's because of, you know, lack of real life connections due to increased social media usage. So that makes us less likely to empathize with other people. Lekin, on the other hand, largely largely people said कि social media की age में empathy actually increase हुई है, and especially in research जो it's not much लेकिन कुछ research है that specifically linked social media की वजह से empathy increase हो रही है नहीं, and they found that it does actually help with development of empathy. और उसका consensus ये था कि it depends what you do on social media. There are specific things that people do that are linked to either higher empathy or development of empathy. Because social media inherently, and I was surprised by this, social media inherently does not have that many implications for declining empathy. So we will get to the hows and the whys in a bit. But again, I'm going to make you talk. What do you post? Tell me, I want to hear from you. Because it depends what you do on social media, right? So what do you guys post?
Was के हम क्या post करते हैं, right?
Yes. What do you post? Like, do you lurk? Do you post your achievements? How do you engage with others? What do you do?
I post a lot of like उस तरह पुराने like with my friends उस तरह के posts.
Okay.
Because
like
I have friends
nostalgia?
from like 10 years ago और अब उनकी जो पुरानी वाली memories होती है I post a lot of that. हाँ, nostalgic posts, yes.
Okay.
And just me doing my own makeup.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Miss Dua, that's actually very constructive. Like doing creative stuff online. We'll talk about that. Miss, we have in the chat. I post my pictures. I post positive quotes most of the time. I post happy moments with my friends. Right. So, अब इसमें ये है कि research said कि it depends what you do online, right? Okay. ठीक है. Now, we already discussed and you already told me what you think leads to like less empathy, like what kind, like Miss Manur said that people on servers, anonymity and stuff. So you post positive quotes when you're feeling sad and low. So you see how everybody has a different way of interacting. Some people might miss their friends, so there's a lot of nostalgia. Some people post positivity either to make up for their own emotions, yeah, maybe they're just a positive person. So you see, social media is basically what you make it. Every one person is not doing what they, not आप लोग एक दूसरे वाली चीजें नहीं कर रहे. I always share content which can motivate others. Yeah. So, for example, me, I will out myself. I am in a lot of fan communities. मुझे बहुत शौक है मैं कुछ भी देखूं मैं जाके उसका सोशल मीडिया पे देख रही होती हूँ. I watch a lot of edits and stuff. That's my like downtime activity, right? So social media inherently is not bad. It is basically what you're doing on it, right? So, okay. Why does social media then foster empathy? Let's talk about that. Because I went down this big rabbit hole because जब मैंने देखा कि empathy actually was increasing, I was like, but why? Okay. एक तो ये चीज है कि there is this thing called real life versus virtual empathy. जो आपकी real life में जो लोग ज्यादा empathetic हैं, ज्यादा compassionate हैं, they are more likely to be empathetic in interactions online as well. That makes sense, right? Common sense. There is also one thing called pro-social behaviors. You might see some people who post a lot of fundraisers and GoFundMe's or, this person needs money and I'm going to help them. Yeah, doing awareness campaigns, that was such even. उन लोगों में empathy is found to be higher. Those people have higher empathy. या फिर people who do that on social media, sometimes there can be development of empathy that has not been studied. कि link directly social media की वजह से है या नहीं, but those people do have higher empathy. That fosters empathy. And the third thing is connections online. जो लोग go on the internet to build connections and seek any kind of belonging in a social group or something like that, they show higher empathy over time. There was actually a longitudinal study जो उन्होंने teenagers के साथ की थी, and they basically monitored them for a year and they tested them again, and they found that social media was basically a tool for psychosocial development. वो जो teenagers थे, they were actually developing empathy. They were developing the sense of how to connect with other people, right? Because they were basically monitoring what they were doing online, and people that were basically kind of like interacting. Because how do we develop really? We develop by interacting with other people, right? So social media का एक अच्छा aspect ये है कि you can connect with other people, you can make friends, और फिर you can learn how to connect with other people. या अगर real life में even if you are lonely, online it can be positive for you, right? So social media inherently is not bad. लेकिन फिर एक और factor आ जाता है, which is very understudied, and I might study that. I'm not sure yet. लेकिन उसमें ये है कि people that have pro social behaviors, जो बहुत सारे GoFundMes पोस्ट करते हैं, गाजा के बारे में पोस्ट कर रहे हैं, you know, all of these things. या फिर they are very very nice online. उसमें ये है कि are they, ये क्वेश्चन यहाँ पे आता है, are they doing this because they are empathetic, या are they doing this to project a positive self-image? Like, are you doing all these really positive things because you care about the cause, like you care about, yeah, do you just care about how you come across? Because that is also a problem. So that is a very understudied aspect of this, and I was surprised it wasn't studied more. So I might do research on that in the future, so you can be on the lookout for that. But okay. Again, sadly, longitudinal work, there's not that much on the links between social media and declining empathy over time specifically. Sorry? Does someone want to talk? Okay. So we basically have this thing of like social media ki age mein it has gone up, but longitudinal work is pretty rare on this. So we don't know कि social media की वजह से हो रहा है या नहीं. We just have a lot of like very circumstantial anecdotal evidence for that. लेकिन फिर there's this big question. Why are people so mean online? अगर social media can foster empathy, or social media research के accordingly, a lot of research, overwhelming research says कि इसकी वजह से empathy बढ़ रही है, then why does the media empathy paradox exist? Why are people so callous online? Right? And I have an answer for that. Do you want to answer that? Does anybody have guesses? कि अगर empathy ऊपर जा रही है, why are people so callous online? Yes?
I think, Ms. Kashyap, most of the people are projecting themselves online because we have seen a lot of people are facing a lot of difficulties in their life, and somehow they're projecting themselves on social media. You know, when most of the people, when they're facing, you know, negativity around them, and they want to, you know, कहीं ना कहीं उनको एक प्रोजेक्ट करना होता है, कहीं ना कहीं उनको एक, you know, नेगेटिविटी, उसको हम होता है ना कि हमारे अंदर एक नेगेटिविटी इतने टाइम से चल रही है, तो whenever they see any positivity कि कुछ फॉर एग्जांपल किसी की कोई अचीवमेंट है, या किसी ने कोई अपनी अच्छी पिक्चर पोस्ट की हुई है, या किसी ने कुछ जो है वो बहुत अच्छा अपना लाइफ में कुछ अचीव कर लिया है, तो दे वांट टू यू नो सी द नेगेटिव साइड ऑफ इट बिकॉज दे हैव बीन एक्सपीरियंस नेगेटिविटी थ्रू आउट देयर लाइफ, या कितने टाइम से वो उसको एक्सपीरियंस कर रहे होते हैं. तो मे बी उनका एक पर्सपेक्टिव इस तरह से बन जाता है दैट दे वांट टू सी द नेगेटिविटी इन दैट पर्सन, इन दैट पर्सपेक्टिव एज वेल, कि यहाँ पे अगर इसने कुछ अचीव किया है तो कुछ ना कुछ इसमें नेगेटिविटी होगी. एंड मे बी आई बिलीव कि उनका उसमें कोई गलती नहीं होती बिकॉज they have been experiencing the negativity from a very long time, so they try to project it onto other people because उनकी लाइफ से भी एक पॉजिटिविटी खत्म होती चली जाती है.
Right. Thank you so much for that, because you're actually right. Webinar khatam. This is basically what I was going to say. And another person in the chat has said that maybe because of their own insecurities or any inferiority complex, and one other person said that it is easier to let your frustrations out online than in real life. Please define callous. Callous is basically आपको पता है, अगर फॉर एग्जांपल कोई इंटरनेट पे आपने कभी देखे लोग किसी को जाके कह रहे होते हैं ये लड़की कितनी अगली है, ये लड़की ऐसे क्यों, आप ऐसे क्यों कर रहे हो, बहुत कैलेस, लाइक कोई रिगार्ड नहीं है किसी की फीलिंग्स के लिए, कोई रिगार्ड नहीं है. क्योंकि अगर आप इफ यू सब्सक्राइब टू रिलीजन एज वेल, देयर इज दिस थिंग कॉल्ड हुकूकुल इबाद, राइट, दैट बेसिकली सेज यू हैव राइट्स टुवर्ड्स अदर पीपल, राइट. सो आपने उनकी फीलिंग्स हर्ट नहीं करनी and stuff. आजकल that is completely out the window on social media in a lot of ways. And it surprises me because a lot of these people are religious, but then they're like, मैं ये हो रहा है और फिर ये हो जाएगा, and you will burn in hell, and then this will happen. And it's like, कोई regard नहीं. Callousness का मतलब होता है कि there's a complete disregard for the other person's feelings, for just generally. It's like very intense. They want to be noticed. Okay, who do they want to be noticed by? This is a very interesting point. Who do they want to be noticed by?
I think like वो necessarily ये नहीं चाह रहे होते कि पता लगे कि वो कौन है, but like they want to be heard. Like वो चाह रहे होते हैं कि और घर पे इधर उधर कोई सुने ना सुने, but यहाँ पे like important feel करते हैं अगर अगला बंदा actually notice भी कर दे कि वो ये वाला hate comment छोड़ा है किसी ने मेरे उस पे.
Exactly.
Attention मिलती है इस तरह से उन्हें.
All of you already got it. मैं यहाँ पे क्यों? I will just move on before people bring up more points and I have nothing to say. Because all of you are right, and this is actually the next slide. So, okay. Unempathetic behavior. एक तो किसी ने बोला था कि anonymity, right? Miss Manur said that. इसको कहते हैं online disinhibition effect. People do not see the online world as real. यहाँ पे अगर आप किसी को कुछ भी कह दो, it's not actually you, especially agar aapka account is completely anonymous. Have you seen people that don't have their pictures online, don't have their faces online, and they're just saying stuff? That is the online disinhibition effect. And even people that have their names and pictures online, full names. There was a gynecologist that got in so much trouble, and then people found their practice because they were being very insensitive towards women, which is crazy because they're a gynecologist, you know? And they had their entire thing online. That is also the online disinhibition effect. The online world doesn't quite feel real. वहां पे ऐसे लगता है कि एक तो perceived privacy है, you're behind a screen, nobody can really see you, और false closeness. So boundaries बहुत अजीब होती हैं online कि अगर आप किसी से बात भी कर रहे हो या अपना comment कर रहे हो, it doesn't really feel like you're saying it to another person. Yeah, you're saying it in a way that's attached to you forever because it's weird, right? Online, it's behind a screen, you can't see anybody in your room, so it's easier to open up, right? Or agar anonymous is all well and good, us time but the people don't care at all because they can say whatever. The second thing is control over self-presentation. Somebody was talking just now and they said this, or did they? I'm not sure, but somebody said, basically what happens is that you decide what you put online. Aapki jo image hai, you decide what you're going to project. Now, my personality online and in real life is pretty similar because I'm a very, very non-confrontational person, so it shows in my online interactions. I'm the exact opposite of whatever like Callus is, right? तो अब इसमें यह है, रिसर्च ने कहा है कि आप अपनी सेल्फ प्रेजेंटेशन को जब कंट्रोल करते हो तो दिस में प्रमोट सेल्फ सेंटर्डनेस. आपकी पर्सनालिटी थोड़ी सी सेल्फ सेंटर्ड हो जाती है. एम्पैथी में ये होता है कि आप सेल्फ सेंटर्ड नहीं होते, यू कैन इंटरैक्ट विद अदर्स एंड स्टफ, राइट? यू कैन पुट योरसेल्फ इन देयर शूज एंड स्टफ लाइक दैट. अब जब सेल्फ सेंटर्डनेस प्रमोट होती है, बिकॉज पीपल हैव फाउंड this कि जो लोग अपनी पिक्चर्स लगा रहे हैं, and there's nothing wrong with that, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I also do that. लेकिन कुछ लोग हैं, they become very very self-centered, they become very obsessed with how they come across. That leads to lack of empathy क्योंकि वो अपने अंदर इतने caught up होते हैं कि it becomes difficult to put yourself in other people's shoes, which is kind of like empathy का, you know, cornerstone. And then the most common, and this is why I did this webinar, overcompensation for real life circumstances. I will give you an example. There was a person, real life, she was going through a lot, financial troubles and just every kind of trouble you can think of. In online, she had a social circle and they were all very mean and she was extremely mean and she was just talking and just taking digs at people. And it was strange to me because I know what she was going through. So I was like, why is she doing this? There's this escapism element, like from either lack of assertiveness कि आप real life में आपकी कोई नहीं सुन रहा तो आप online you're taking that frustration out, या फिर जैसे online trolls का I think Miss Aisha ने कहा था अभी कि you feel like you can get away with triggering others in ways that you cannot in real life. So either you are trying to hurt people the way that you are hurt, या फिर you're bored and you're lonely and you're trying to find connection. The trolling is also a bit to find connection in a weird way, but you don't want them to see your like flaws and you're insecure, so you trigger them and then they get angry and then you feel happy about it because somebody at least, you know, felt something when you did something, right? So escapism ka element or overcompensation for your problems, that is very very common. The meanest people you know online, it's like there was this meme this one time, I don't know about काफी पुरानी बात है, but it was kind of like the people who are maybe cussing people out online cannot order a ketchup at McDonald's. Like real life maybe unki awaaz nahi nikalti, but online they're like, they will be the first person there, right? And then the third thing, so we only have 3 minutes left in this call, so I will generate a new link and I will send it, and then you can join that one. Like, and I'm just going to finish up with this. There's this thing called in-group versus out-group. Somebody in the chat said they want to be noticed, right? And that's why I was like, who do they want to be noticed by? So this happens when you find community online sometimes. जैसे आप किसी fan community में हो, या फिर आप किसी group में हो, like, and they like you, and maybe real life you don't have friends, so you will do anything to find approval from them. And then that means कि अगर आपको उन लोगों के साथ mean होना पड़ता है who are not part of this group, sometimes you do. So then they will be like, oh, ये बंदा कितना loyal है, oh, they're our friend. And maybe you might be really empathetic and compassionate towards that in-group that you have. Like into the out-group, because you're not part of them and you don't agree with them, maybe you're like, oh, I can say whatever I want. right? So basically it just comes down to the fact that social media is very, very, it doesn't feel real, right? It doesn't feel real, or uski wajah se there's some people that act in ways like this. It doesn't mean that maybe empathy is declining as such, like it definitely affects how you act, especially either way, online too, especially because real life maybe you might be really compassionate, but online all bets are off. Because online it doesn't really feel real, and this doesn't apply to everybody, obviously, because not everybody is the same. लेकिन this is why there's so much discrepancy in research, and there's so much like कि कुछ लोग कहते हैं increase हो रही है, कुछ लोग कहते हैं decline हो रही है, कुछ लोग कहते हैं कि किस एक्टिविटी से डिक्रीज हो रही है, किसी एक्टिविटी से डिक्लाइन हो रही है, like so इसका कोई एक आंसर नहीं है, like is it a yes or a no. It is basically down to human behavior, which is fascinating, right? Say before that, do you have any questions or anything, so we can continue with the rest of the webinar in the next call?
Yeah, I have some view
Okay,
about
sure.
this talk. कि
Okay, sure.
बहुत से डॉक्टर, बहुत से प्रोफेसर्स जब किसी के बारे में बात करना स्टार्ट करते हैं, उनका मेजर मकसद यही होता है कि हम किसी का जो बैड पॉइंट है या जो हमारे मुआशरे के लिए अच्छा नहीं है, हम उसको डिस्कस करें, डिस्क्राइब करें और उनको ये रियलाइज कराएं कि वो पॉजिटिविटी की तरफ आएं। लेकिन
Right.
जैसे ही ये सोशल मीडिया पे ये चीज अपलोड होती है, बहुत सारे लोग उनको अप्रिशिएट करते हैं जो इस चीज पर बात करते हैं,
Right.
लेकिन आई थिंक सो इसका जो बेस्ट सोल्यूशन है वो ये है कि हम उस बंदे को, उस पर्सन को इस तरह के मीडियम में जाके उससे बात करें और उसको समझाएं कि जिसमें
Right.
उसकी तजलील, तहकीर ना हो। तो
Right.
सोशल मीडिया पे लोग व्यूअर्स को लेने के लिए, लोग फॉलोअर्स को लेने के लिए किसी ना किसी की जात पर बात करते हैं, और लोगों को ये लगता है कि जो पर्सन बात कर रहा है वो एम्पैथी शो कर रहा है, वो पॉजिटिविटी क्रिएट कर रहा है, और बहुत
Right.
सारे लोग उसको फॉलो भी करते हैं, बहुत सारे लोग उसको
Right.
पॉजिटिव कहते भी हैं। लेकिन
Right.
अगर हम उसको दूसरे पर्सपेक्टिव से देखें, जो पर्सन जिसने कोई मिस्टेक कर दी है, ऑब्वियसली वी ऑल और नॉट इन अ प्रॉपर फॉर्म, हमसे भी मिस्टेक्स हो जाती हैं, फॉल्ट्स आर ऑलवेज इन द लाइफ। I
Okay.
was talking about the person who raised his voice for showing or presenting other person who are doing bad or who are
Yeah.
harming others. तो वो चाहता है कि वो पॉजिटिविटी क्रिएट करे और उसके एक फॉल्ट पे वो ये चाहता है कि वो अवेयरनेस क्रिएट करे और पब्लिक को भी ये चीज बताए। तो उससे ये होता है कि लोग ये समझते हैं कि उसके दिल में वो एहसास है जो एक बहुत अच्छे इंसान के अंदर होता है। हो सकता है कि वो उससे किसी ग्रज की वजह से, पर्सनल ग्रज की वजह से ये कर रहा हो सकता है कि उसको कोई और एजेंडा हो, किसी ने उसको ये कहा हो, और हो सकता है वो चीज ही फेक हो। तो ये चीज भी देखते हैं लोग, जो हम सोशल मीडिया पे जैसी चीज देख रहे होते हैं और हमारे लिए एक न्यूज का बायस बनती है कि सबसे पहले जो चीज सोशल मीडिया पे ज्यादा आ रही होती है, हम उसको एक्सेप्ट करते हैं, हम ये देखते हैं कि हाँ ये सच हो सकती है, क्योंकि ज्यादातर लोगों ने इसी के बारे में बात की है। तो आप इस पर रोशनी डालिए कि इसको फिर हम किस तरह से ले सकते हैं, और वाकई ही में ये एम्पैथेटिक है कि पीपल एंगेज टू दैट पर्सन जो अपलोड कर रहा है उस पर्सन के अकॉर्डिंग चीजें, कि वो ही और शी इज नॉट डूइंग गुड, ही और जस्ट ब्लेमिंग अदर्स एंड ही इज जस्ट ह्यूमिलेटिंग अदर्स। तो ये हार्मफुल कंटेंट होता है। इस तरह से नेगेटिविटी
जी.
भी इससे शेयर होती है, एंड साइकोलॉजिकली he just engage people with that person and also engage in that activity कि इस चीज को प्रमोट करें, इस चीज को प्रमोट करें, and people promote also, they share
So,
with their social circle also. तो
जी.
इसमें
So,
हमें क्या करना चाहिए, हमें इसको कैसे देखना चाहिए?
okay, so we will have a question answer session at the end. So I'm just going to finish the webinar and then I'm going to get back to this, okay? Is that fine?
Thank you.
Okay. All right, no problem. Okay, you can also put this in the chat so I don't forget. Okay. Now, अब इसका वही जो what you just said, what should we do about this then, right? What do we do? There is not much you can do about other people's behavior. There is something you can do about your behavior. When it comes to being, जिसको हम कहते हैं unempathetic या जो भी. First, you have to remember that people online are people. कभी कभी हमें ये feel होता है कि sometimes they don't feel real because they're like behind a screen. Lekin they're still people. They are still someone's friend. They're still a person outside of what you're talking about, right? That is very, very important to remember that. Remember that people are still people. Whatever you're going to say is still going to affect them because they are people, and whatever they say obviously affects you, right? There's nothing wrong with adjusting your self-presentation online. You have a very curated image, you don't want to hurt online, that's completely fine. I also do that. We all do that. You give your people. That is just how social interaction and like social psychology works, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Because social media is not inherently bad. इसके ऊपर अच्छी चीजें भी हैं, इसके ऊपर बुरी चीजें भी हैं. It's just self-awareness is key when it comes to this. Be very aware of your behavior. Know what you are saying, know what you are doing, and how this can affect other people. Think before you post. Is what I'm about to say hurtful or dismissive? Yeah, but Miss Ayman was just talking about this. Are my opinions my own or my online groups? Because real life we have our own opinions, we have our own morals, we have all these things, right? Like in kabhi-kabhi ye hai ki kuch log are spreading negativity and people subscribe to that negativity and then start sharing it because they either want that person's approval, yeah, or something like that. You have to really remember, and you have to really remember this. Your opinions, yeah, your morals, yeah, whatever I'm about to do, is this my own opinion? Yeah, is it somebody else's that I'm just subscribing to? Am I overcompensating for something? In real life, maybe I want approval, so I don't have it. So I want this person's approval. So wo jo bhi mujhe करने को कह रहे हैं, मैं कर रही हूँ, right? Is it mine or is it somebody else's? Self-awareness is very important. Self-awareness, not just in this, self-awareness practice करना is very, very important. Like अगर आप करने से पहले सोच भी लोगे ना, that it's still you being self-aware. Okay, usually it's very easy to just do things online because whatever. It's whatever, So if you find yourself affected by a negativity online, this is a very common question that I get because I am a psychologist. So I have actually currently have someone that asked me this. Because they're like, I like a thing, like in negativity hai, it was a fan community or something. So what do I do about that? First thing, you have to curate your experience. Social media is the kind of online society where you decide who you are, you decide who you surround yourself with. Real life ki tarah nahi hai, right? You curate your timeline, curate your experience. Block button, the mute button, they are free. I swear, they're free. Algorithm will only show you things that you want. Curate your experience, and remember, they're just people. Maybe they're really bored people, but जैसा अगर कोई trolling कर रहा है या someone is being really negative, they are still people. Yes, they are human beings, but they're just people. Like words can only affect you to a certain point. And if it's getting very out of hand, if it's turning into like a crime, report it. Like because sometimes people are like, oh, online hai, but somebody got, like unki information kisi ne leak kar diya, something like that. That is a crime. If it turns into a crime, please report it. But if it's just words and people are just doing it, just remember that these are just people. Or I will always suggest this. Please attempt to find activities in real life, especially if your online experience becomes detrimental to your mental health. Real life ki activities jitni fulfilling hai, online utni nahi. Like online, yes, I have a lot of fun. That's literally my hobby. So maybe I'm a hypocrite because I don't have that many activities in real life either. Like in real life, the engagement with people, real life engagement with your interests, that is much more valuable. And yes, there is value in online friends because I have a lot of online friends and they are still friends. That's real. I will say that's real. Like enjoy engagement and that fulfillment that you can get in real life sometimes does not exist across the screen. Sometimes. Try to find like-minded people online. अब इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि if you have a negative opinion, find negative people and then spread negativity. I mean कि if you think that there's a lot of negativity around you, try to find people that think like you and just be friends with them. Sometimes a community can just be you and your friend. You don't have to just like try not to get caught up in trends and I want to be part of this community or वो सारा कुछ. Set healthy boundaries with your online connection. अगर आपकी कोई online friends है भी, don't let them talk to you a certain way क्योंकि वो online है, it's not real. Don't do that. There are still people. Yes, ये फिर भी social interaction. या फिर if they're leaving comments या whatever they're doing. ठीक है? Set boundaries and live by the principles you do in real life. अगर आपके real life में कुछ morals हैं, real life में कुछ opinions हैं, subscribe to those. Keep those up. क्योंकि you do not as a person change online. You don't have to. और अगर आप हो रहे हो, अगर आपको लग रहा है कि I'm such a different person online than I am in real life, whether positively or negatively, तो फिर you have to really pay attention to why that's happening. ठीक है? And again, self-awareness. Very common question, like I said, if I like something, I like a I don't know, TV show or something, okay? And there's a lot of negativity surrounding it online. Like uske fans bahut negative hai, yeah. There's another community that's very negative towards it. What should I do? What you should do in that, and I actually said this to the person who asked me this, curate your experience. You do not have to see any of it. I promise. You don't have to. A lot of people think if they engage with a certain thing, yeah, if they're in a certain thing, yeah, they're interested in a certain thing, so uske sari adjacent cheezein bhi they also have to engage with that. You don't. You really don't. Just remember, this is just the online sphere is real in the sense that there are people that are real people on it. Lekin you don't have to take it that serious. You really don't. Right? That's the advice I always give. Try to distance yourself from it. Find activities online. Have your interests if you want to engage with them in online or whatever. But always remember that real life ki cheezein can be much, much more fulfilling as well. So you'll only see what you kind of seek out in that sense. So there are things in the chat. Social media has many positive sides, and we will never count minimum ratio of negativity, but I hope it's depending upon the person's ideas and thoughts. Yeah, social media, because I am a very big social media person. I am constantly on my phone, right? Especially Twitter. I love Twitter. Lekin it's not an inherently bad thing. Social media pe I have met very lifelong friends. Like I have a friend who I've had since 2016. Very old friend, family friend even. Lekin we met online. I have a lot of friends. I have someone in this call actually who's an online friend, right? If she joined, I don't know. Lekin they are very, very nice people. So social media is not inherently a bad thing. And there's no real evidence that says it leads to declining empathy. But there's no real evidence that it increases empathy either. It is basically just what you are doing. And I'm glad that this kind of like the research kind of made this webinar into a behavioral almost thing, because I wasn't sure what the answer was going to be when I looked at it. Like it basically just, the main thing I will tell you is that take care of yourself. Prioritize your needs, your well-being. Just because you're online doesn't mean that your well-being and your needs disappear. आपने अपनी boundaries का sense उतना ही रखना है, और आपने अपने interest जो भी है वो sense उतना ही रखना है that you have in real life. Just because you're online doesn't mean that you have to put up with things that you don't want to put up with, right? Now, Miss Amen, I would like to answer that because we are on the question answer session, but I just want to start with that one. So I think what she said was, there are some people that are putting out these ideas and they're pretty negative, and there are people that actually spread that as well, right? What can you do about that? Now, the thing is that's not, and you think that that's not very they are basically doing things that are good, quote unquote, and they're good to some people, and they are not good to everybody else. They're not good generally. Maybe it's a really mean opinion, but some people think it's good, so they're spreading it. ठीक है? अब इसमें हम क्या कर सकते हैं? हम if you are close to someone who is subscribing to those ideas, just for example, you think they are falling down a very harmful rabbit hole, for example, if you think that, you can always go talk to the person. Because talking to a stranger jinke opinions aapse different hain, does not always go well, because they're going to be like up on you. You can always, one thing you can do is counter that negativity with positivity of your own. If you think people are subscribing to an idea, take the initiative and start something positive. Counter it. Because there's a lot of times jab hame lagta hai ki we can go talk to the person and they're actually going to listen to us. And that doesn't always happen. Yes, you can do that with people that you are acquaintances with, that you are friends with, that and you can have a little healthy communication with them. I would like to know what's happening here, so can you please explain and stuff. Lekin when it's a big initiative and people are subscribing to it, so to counter that, you can start your own positive thing, because that's all you can really do. Social media is the kind of thing where people don't really see you as people. You are seeing them as people, right? Like sometimes they don't see you as people because it's online. Like they're like, who is this person? The most they can do is block you, right? So every negativity you can count with positivity. Start your own initiative, or try to educate people against the thing that you think is happening, right? और दूसरी चीज ये है कि oh, there's somebody in the chat. Let me check. Okay. Oh, thank you, Miss Afra. She said excellent session. Thank you. इसमें ये है कि there's one more thing. Good or bad can be subjective, right? What is good to you might not necessarily be good to anybody else. Yeah, what is bad to you might not be bad to them. आपका good or bad, it's like some things are objectively bad across the board. ठीक है ना? जैसे अगर कोई कह रहा है कि women should not have rights, like that's bad. Lekin sometimes there's just a difference in opinion. I'll go back to the example of a fan community. जैसे for example, there's a fan community. एक ग्रुप चाहता है कि शो में ये हो, एक ग्रुप चाहता है कि शो में ये हो, ठीक है? अब वो दोनों रॉन्ग नहीं है पर से, लेकिन उन दोनों को एक दूसरे का स्टूपिड लग रहा है, ठीक है? वो कह रहे हैं कि ये पागल है, वो पागल है, राइट? तो उसकी वजह से भी बहुत कैरलेसनेस हो जाती है. लाइक दे आर बेसिकली एट ईच अदर, गालियां पड़ रही होती हैं, राइट? एंड इट्स अ वेरी स्मॉल थिंग, लेकिन उनके लिए वो जिंदगी मौत हुई होता है, you know. तो अब ये भी देखना है कि इज द थिंग that is bad to you, like, and people are subscribing to it, is it objectively bad, या फिर is it a difference in opinion? Also know that अगर it's objectively bad, कि अगर it's very very like fully like it's some, like I said, women should not have rights, for example, that's bad, right? But people subscribe to that kind of thing, that's bad. But is it objectively bad? Do you think it's bad? That's also one thing that you can ask yourself. There's a question, I think, in the last, it's explained how I can help those people who are most needy. Okay, how so? Do you mean social media pe? Yeah, do you mean generally? Because, like, can you please elaborate on that? And while you do that, does anybody else have questions? You can ask, because we're on the question and answer thing. Media. Okay. How? Okay, can you explain how? Like, what do you mean? Like, media pe you want to help people? So, if you want, अब depend करता है कि what you mean by that. लेकिन media पे जो लोग हैं, for example, you can basically, what you can do is, again, start initiatives. You can start fundraisers, या अगर उनके already fundraisers हैं, so you can repost them, or you can encourage people to donate to them. You can encourage people to donate to them real life में, क्योंकि it doesn't just have to be on social media. So you can, अगर आपको help करनी है किसी की, so you basically spread it. Spread the word. Spreading the word से भी बहुत हो जाता है. And that is basically very pro-social behavior. So that's good. Adorable. Thank you. That's fine. Does anybody else?
Ms. Kashyap, I would like to add one more thing. We can also help other people. You might have seen that on LinkedIn we have, most of the people have joined LinkedIn just because they are lacking, some career opportunities, and we might have been seeing कि कुछ opportunities आएंगे, or as a psychology student or psychology background, we are lacking in these kind of opportunities. So we can help others in a way that we can, whenever we see any opportunity have been posted by any, recruiter and anyone, so we can, share, and we can repost, we can, share it on WhatsApp groups, and we can share it to those who we think they are in a most, in a needed position. So we can share such opportunities as well. In this way, we can help others.
Yes.
Through social media.
Yeah. So social media is a very, very potent tool. उसके अंदर you can have creative interests. उसके अंदर you can have, you can help people. There is so much that you can do on social media, which is why I don't think it's a bad thing, or it's not leading to declining empathy. We just have to watch our behavior. And just, oh, there's another thing in the chat. What are the long-term effects of reduced? Sorry? Okay, what are the long-term effects of reduced empathy on mental health? Well, directly, अगर मैं कहूँ ना, It is basically a lot of loneliness. क्योंकि जब आप एम्पैथी रिड्यूस्ड होती है या आपकी एम्पैथी रिड्यूस हो जा रही होती है, वन थिंग, ओ हाँ, एक और पॉइंट दिस क्वेश्चन रिमाइंडेड मी इज दैट कभी कभी ऑनलाइन लोगों की बहुत एम्पैथी होती है पर रियल लाइफ में नहीं होती. ऑनलाइन दे आर प्रेजेंटिंग देमसेल्व्स इन अ सर्टेन वे, लेकिन रियल लाइफ में दे आर नेग्लेक्टिंग एवरी कनेक्शन दे हैव, राइट? And so long term effect of reduced empathy, it can affect you very negatively. उस टाइम पे आपको इतना नहीं लग रहा था, but it basically it leads to a very lonely life. क्योंकि you are unable to connect with others, you cannot show compassion to other people, and so आपके जितने भी connections हैं with people, they start deteriorating. और you need social interaction and you need social compassion to function, basically, right? और क्योंकि empathy क्या है? Empathy is basically the fact that you are able to put yourself in other people's shoes, right? Take their perspective and feel their emotions. If you can't do that, तो आपका मतलब social circle आप keep करना बहुत मुश्किल है. And the more you neglect real life की connections, your empathy is deteriorating, you will recede into unhealthy coping mechanisms, right? Because you're like, I don't need people. So when you don't need people, तो उसके बाद it leads to a very, very lonely life. Or when we don't have that kind of social connection, तो उसके बाद obviously your mental health starts deteriorating. क्योंकि I firmly believe that you need some level of, social interaction to be able to cope, right? So it can lead to depression, it can lead to anxiety, it can, it leads to a lot of connection problems, if that makes sense. Answer your question? Okay, there's another question. How can we control a child from using mobile phones? Okay, how old is the child? Because if you want a general answer, if you want a general answer, बच्चों की आजकल स्क्रीन टाइम ज्यादा है because बचपन से ही people start basically putting them on like iPads and phones and stuff. Nothing inherently wrong with that, क्योंकि हाँ थोड़े से मैं भी बहुत कार्टून देखती थी बचपन में, that's not. But उसमें ये है कि they basically the child becomes very reliant on the screen, right? And so बचपन से ही एक प्रेसिडेंट बन जाता है क्योंकि we live in a very globalized society. तो उसके बाद बच्चे, कुछ लोग कह रहे होते हैं ना कि बचपन से ही कि मेरा बच्चा ऐसे फोन यूज करता है कैसे करके, वेरी क्विक, लाइक it's seen as a good thing, ऐसे फोन चलाता है and stuff. तो जब वो बच्चा बड़ा हो रहा है, obviously they are so reliant on technology that it is difficult to put a stop to that, क्योंकि you basically आपने पूरे बचपन में उसे दिए रखा है, now you're like कम यूज करो. What you can do if the child is older, if the child is like, एक तो उनको अपना फोन ना लेके दें. I firmly believe कि बच्चों को अपना फोन लेके देने की जरूरत नहीं होती until they're about maybe 14, like mid adolescence. उससे पहले अपना फोन लेने का I don't think कतई जरूरत है. Encourage them to go out, encourage them to make friends, or encourage outside activities. As a parent, you also need to like help them. क्योंकि अगर आप उनको बाहर लेके ही नहीं जा रहे, उन्हें घर में क्या करना, right? Take them outside, take them on outside excursions. Have some fulfilling activities in real life ताकि उनको याद ही ना रहे कि मैंने फोन इतना यूज करना था. दूसरी चीज, मैं तो कहती हूँ बचपन से ही फोन की आदत उतनी नहीं डालनी चाहिए क्योंकि फिर वो एक बिहेवियर रूट हो जाता है. अगर बिहेवियर रूट हो चुका है, सेट बाउंड्रीज. यू कैन हैव के ओके दिस इज, एक तो अपना फोन ना लेके दे, अपने फोन पे जो उन्हें करना है वो आपके फोन पे करे या whatever. Parental controls are also they can be helpful अगर बच्चा छोटा है. So you can have them on your phone ताकि क्योंकि the thing is you can't really stop a child from using a phone at this point in time. Stop करने का it's not that, लेकिन आप उसको reduce कर सकते हो. What you can do is you can say कि okay ये वाला hour है जिसमें आपने phone use करना है या आप computer use कर सकते हो, और उसके बाद that's it. उनको अपना phone लेकर नहीं देना. There is a communal device घर पे जिसपे वो use करते हैं, और as they grow older they can get their own phone or you can get them the phone. लेकिन I don't believe in stopping children, क्योंकि stop करने से भी इन्होंने इसी society में survive करना है, so they do need to know some things. So I won't encourage you to stop them. I would encourage you to set boundaries कि अच्छा ये वाला hour है या ये वाले 2 hours हैं, जब आप homework कर लोगे, जब आप ये काम कर लोगे, then you can go on the computer, फिर आप phone use कर सकते हो. और आपने उनके मॉनिटर, अगर बच्चा छोटा है तो यू कैन मॉनिटर व्हाट दे आर डूइंग, क्योंकि सोशल मीडिया इज नॉट अ बैड थिंग, लेकिन उसके अंदर बहुत चीजें हैं, ठीक है ना. तो यू कैन मॉनिटर दैट यूसेज, यू कैन हैव पेरेंटल कंट्रोल्स, और उसके बाद जब वो टाइम अप हो जाए. यस, सॉरी.
जी मिस कश्यप, I'm sorry to interrupt you. मुझे यही ऐड करना था कि because in these days स्कूल में जो है बहुत ज्यादा integrated learning हो गई है. We are including the
Yes,
social
yes,
media, we are including the gadgets in learning. तो
yes,
it will
exactly.
be difficult अगर हम children को जो है वो बिल्कुल ही फोन से दूर रखेंगे. तो you
Yes,
आपकी जो बात है उसपे I do agree कि हाँ we can set the limit, we can set the time और period के इतने time तक you can use. So we can include that school part या school का homework वाला part in that as well, that
yes,
these hours are to complete your homework,
yes,
whichever you have gotten from the school, and the other part, yeah, other,
yeah, yeah,
these specific hours for your, आप अगर आप game खेल रहे हो, whatever the activity you are doing,
yes,
you can go for that.
yes. Yeah, that goes without saying. Yes. So जो आपने hours रखे हुए हैं ना कि ये वाला hour in which you can use it, but I meant कि that for entertainment, right? So if they want to watch something, yeah, if they want to do something, right? क्योंकि मेरा ये भी concern होता है कि as someone that didn't have a lot of supervision growing up, it wasn't good for me. क्योंकि थोड़ी सी supervision is necessary because आप देखो कि बच्चा किससे engage कर रहा है, क्या कर रहा है, क्यों कर रहा है. क्योंकि बच्चा at the end of the day आपकी responsibility है. राइट. तो हाँ, एज फॉर होमवर्क, क्योंकि क्या आई वर्क एट स्कूल शॉर्टली, तो उसके अंदर ये है कि बच्चों का आजकल होमवर्क इस तरह का मिलता है कि आप ये गूगल करके लाओ, यू नो, एंड ये करो और फिर हम देखेंगे कि क्या होता है, या फिर ऑनलाइन चीजें हैं. तो यू कांट स्टॉप देम एज सच, क्योंकि स्टॉपिंग इज नॉट द गोल हियर, reducing is the goal, healthy reduction. Does anybody else have a question? No? Okay. So if nobody else has question, oh no, there is a question. Oh, acha, nahi. Thank you. You're welcome. No? Okay. So, Ms. Ramsha, I think we can wrap it up then.
Okay, if nobody has a
No.
question, I would say that we are going to end the session now. If anybody has a question regarding the
Oh,
session, or if you feel like कि आपको
uh,
बाद में कोई चीज याद आई, you can add up the questions in the WhatsApp group we have. Yes, Ms.
so
Kashyap.
there's one thing in the chat. She said that if you can summarize everything as a like the crux of it. The crux of it is basically that social media, there's no specific answer to whether social media is reducing empathy or not. हाँ, social media की age में empathy reduce हो रही है, लेकिन empathy increase भी हुई है. And it really depends on what you are doing online. So कुछ activities, for example, जैसे अगर आप pro social behavior कर रहे हो, या फिर आप कर रहे हो, for example, connecting with others, having a lot of friends, so that is linked to higher empathy. और empathy increase होने के भी evidence है in teenagers who use a lot of social media. कि empathy उनकी development के लिए social media अच्छा है. लेकिन there's also factors जिसकी वजह से empathy के साथ decline का link थोड़ा है, क्योंकि people are becoming more and more callous online. तो उसका फिर हमें reasons discuss किए थे कि why are they becoming so callous and mean, कि जो आप किसी के मुंह पे नहीं कहोगे वो आप online क्यों कह रहे हो, and that is because of it's anonymous, online world doesn't feel real, maybe you want somebody's approval, आप real life में lonely हो, so you have friends, so आप उनको impress करने के लिए online you're doing this or something like that. आप अपने real life problems के लिए compensate करने के लिए maybe people are being really mean, yeah, whatever. So why people are becoming mean, उसके अपने reasons हैं, there's a lot happening, right? So अब इसका ये नहीं है कि there's a definitive link कि empathy कम है, maybe empathy बहुत ज्यादा हो उसमें, मतलब real life में, लेकिन online they're acting like this. या फिर online they have a lot of empathy, real life में they're neglecting everybody, they have no connections and stuff. So it's a very complicated question, is what I meant. So उसके अंदर ये है कि social media is not inherently bad. You just have to focus on what you are posting and focus on your own behavior. And if you feel like somebody else's behavior that is, for example, not acceptable yet deteriorating and stuff, you can always talk to them and ask them kya problem kya hai? Like, are you okay and stuff. Like, and you also have to remember that what is good to you might not be good to other people. Yeah, what is bad for you might not be bad for other people. So like self-awareness is the key here to kind of help your behavior online in that way.
I think, Ms. Kashyap, we need to put more awareness post like this. जैसे हम mental health awareness के लिए post लगाते हैं, so we can also post the things like how the bad comments or how the negativity is impacting the other people's life in this who are using
Yes.
social media. तो
Yes.
इससे भी जो है लोगों को काफी हो सकता है, the ones who are doing it purposelessly, so they will be having an insight कि हाँ they are doing something wrong, and they are they might
Yeah.
get stopped for doing it.
Right. Yeah. No, that's a good initiative. Because that's the only thing you can do. अगर आपको लग रहा है कि real life, no sorry, online आपको लग रहा है कि people are being very negative and you want to stop that, there's only so much you can do with people. Like it's a very sad answer, but it's a realistic answer. Especially people जिनके opinions are not great, but like they have a lot of people like behind them. You know, religious extremism is an example, right? जो मैं extremism की बात कर रही हूँ, right? There's a lot of people that subscribe to that. What can you really do about it? There's only so many minds you can change. So maybe directly talking to them might not be helpful. So like Ms. Rimsha said, what we can do is that we can spread awareness, right? And we can do our part. अगर आपको negativity लगी है, we can always attempt to cancel it out. That's what we can do, right? So that's a really good initiative to have. So if nobody else has questions, so we can wrap it up. And I thank you for coming and thank you for listening to me. And I hope that this was insightful and you all had a lot of fun, because I had a lot of
Thank you
fun.
so much, Nisha.
No, you're welcome.
Thank you so much for an interesting and impressive webinar you have
Yeah,
done,
you're
mashallah.
welcome.
May Allah
Yeah, I
accept
was.
your all efforts.
Thank you. It was very self-indulgent for me. I actually chose this topic myself because I feel really strongly about social media. So I had a lot of fun, which आप लोगों को नहीं पता. But I was having a ball the entire time. Thank you. Thank you so much for the nice comments. So we'll wrap it up
Thank
then?
The
you.
time to wrap up. I think the meeting
Yeah.
we have to be end. And
Yes.
Mr. Kashif, you can do it now.
Oh, no. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a nice night.